evening. Let's talk COGOP family. I am your host, Katherine Beneby II, and our topic today is when faith meets fitness. We have some heavy hitters on this webcast today, so we're so excited to learn more about them. But first, I want us to ground ourselves in the word. And in Romans 12, verse 1, it says, present your bodies, that's our bodies, as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. And I really want us to highlight the living sacrifice because this means that it's not just a one time act, it's continuous dedication of one's life to God. So that's mind, body, and spirit. And so today we are looking at the mind, we're looking at the physical, and we're trying to assist you in this journey of moving forward in your health and fitness. And so now I will give our panel an opportunity to introduce themselves. And first, we want to know how you're connected to Church of God of Prophecy and also what role you think that faith plays in health and fitness. So let's start with Shaundra because she's to my right.
Good evening, Catherine. Good evening, Bahamas. Good evening, COGOP. My name is Shaundra Sawyer, and I have grown up as a member of the Great Church of God of Prophecy, the Banner of Love, all of my life until 10 years ago when I got married and I switched denominations following my husband. But I'm still under the Banner of Love because I do visit from time to time. My parents and my family are still proud COGOP members, and so I represent the Curtis and Johnson family from the Great Church of God of Prophecy. My grandmother was Pastor Kirtland Johnson, and she was the former pastor of the Duke Street Church of God of Prophecy in Harbor Island. And I'm also very proud to say that my uncle is the current bishop in the Church of God of Prophecy, Bishop Timothy Johnson. And I know I started calling names, but I have other aunts and uncles that are also ministers in the church. So I don't want to get myself in trouble. So I will stop right there. All right. So I am a healthcare wellness specialist as well as an exercise coach. And so I'm passionate about faith and fitness. I think the journey is so important where when you think about health, wellness, and fitness, there's a body, mind, spirit approach as it relates to health, wellness, and fitness. They do not work without each other. And so we talk about discipline and we talk about faith, and all those go hand in hand in making sure that our bodies, which we have been blessed with by God, remain healthy. And that also, the faith aspect of our fitness and our health journeys also come with discipline. And so I think we cannot do it by ourselves. We can only do it by the grace, the mercy, and the strength of God. And like I always encourage people, we pray all the time as Christians for prosperity. We pray for health. We pray for that job. We pray for the healing of our family member. We can also pray to God for discipline and to give us strength on our journeys. And so that's where I want to start today.
Dr. Zenna.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, COGOP family. So I actually was introduced to COGOP because of a talk that I gave last year. Now time is just flying by regarding diabetes. And so that's how I was introduced to the family, and I met Anton there. And so here I am again, pleased to just share some knowledge, to just drop some knowledge, and hopefully to help to combine all of the elements of what we know as faith with works, though, right? Because faith without works is dead. That's true. It's real. It's there. And so I feel like hitting this topic today is so very important for me as well, because often, even as Christians in faith, we forget that our body is our temple. Right? We focus on a lot of the external, but we forget some of the internal things that we need to be doing too, right? So that's really where I'm going to start tonight. And hopefully I'm going to drop some wisdom, but y'all might have a few moments of laughter too, because I try to use humor in medicine as well. Laughter is good medicine for the soul.
Awesome. So Devaughn, followed by Keval.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Bahamas. I joined Church of God of Prophecy in 2002, coming from an Anglican background, so that was a pretty dynamic shift. Church of God of Prophecy, Elizabeth Estates, to be exact, and I've been there ever since. I'm not as esteemed as Shaundra and Dr. Friend. I'm just a regular guy who loves working out. But I'll tell you this: when it comes to faith and fitness, many times as Christians, we talk about praying for healing for our bodies and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, faith without works is dead, because if your lifestyle is one that contributes to your sickness, then your prayers only gonna go so far. There's some work that really needs to be done, and I guess we'll talk a little bit deeper in that as we go on.
All right, good afternoon, guys. My name is Keval Williams. Born, raised, and may very well much pass away in the Church of God Prophecy. From my bishop, my uncle being my current pastor at Ministry, my grandfather being Bishop Eliakim, the deceased, and all of my grandmothers, my mother. All I know is Church of God Prophecy, from Soldier Road to Gambia to Meadow Street. Now currently at Ministry. I've been a jumper since I've been born. In terms of fitness, being I think the youngest in this call, I can't tell. The ladies here look way younger than me. But in terms of faith and fitness, just as everyone else mentions, a lot of people neglect the physical aspect of being a Christian, of being one in tune with God and Christ and Christianity itself. You can't have a pleasant mind or a pleasant soul, a pleasant spirit without being physically fit, in my opinion. If you have a weak body, you have a weak mind. If you have a weak mind, you have a weak body, and so on and so forth. So if you want to be strong in Christ, you have to be strong physically. So I won't be long-winded with that, because that's going to come down later. But that's my stance as a young, fit believer.
Awesome. A special welcome and thank you for accepting our invitation. We appreciate all of you in your respective places. And so, Dr. Zenna, as a family physician who focuses on comprehensive healthcare for families across ages and genders, what are some key observations that you've seen through your practice and ways that we can improve as a people?
So I think coming back home was really an eye opener for me. So I spent 16 years studying and practicing in the UK, in the United Kingdom, where life is a little bit different, culture is a little bit different, food is a little bit different, and our attitudes to food are a lot different, right? So coming back home is definitely an eye opener. I think what came to mind and what stays in my mind is the relationship that the Bahamian population has with food. For us, food is not just something that nourishes our body, it actually nourishes our soul. So we're really into food-based activities when it comes to creating family time, right? So a lot of us, our family time focuses on big things. Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, they all parties and they center around food, right? They center around good food. Mind you, some center around bad food too, right? That's the talking point for us Bahamians too, right? The food wasn't good at that party. I ain't going back there no more, right? So food for us is just something that's just so intertwined with regards to our emotions, how we feel about ourselves, how we interact with other people, that I've noticed that coming back home, some of our habits are really unhealthy, right? When I was younger, I never really sat down and looked at it and thought about it. But y'all know that Sunday church dinner, that one we like to have every Sunday, where throughout the rest of the week, we only have, one meat, maybe a little portion of rice and some vegetables. But Sunday is, that's the day, right? Where everything seems to be starch related, right? And it's a miracle to me because even now I'm trying to get people out of the 3 starches on your plate. Y'all know the good old Sunday dinner, right? Peas and rice, macaroni, potato salad. You may have some veg. You may have some vegetables in there somewhere. You may have a salad. You may, right? But the majority of us, peas and rice, macaroni, potato salad, coleslaw, 2 meat. You got to have 2 meat. The Bahamian household, there's got to be 2 choices on a Sunday, right? No other day of the week, but on Sunday. So that centers around us having that family time. And the problem is our relationship with food in that way has become kind of unhealthy, right? So, starch for me is a big problem in this country. Boy, we love a rice. I ain't gonna lie. I love a rice too, but we have to learn how to moderate that, right? In the UK, of course, they love a potato. So there's some similarities there because, boy, they love a potato, but we love a rice. Rice, Macaroni, potato salad, that's a thing for us. But the problem is, all three of those things fall into one category, which is starches. And starches have a huge effect on our blood sugar and the way we regulate them. Corn, by the way, also not a vegetable. I know we like to think it is, but so not, right? It's a starch. So again, if you put on your plate peas and rice, macaroni, potato salad, and corn, what you've got is a plate full of starches. You have no vegetables, right? It's going to give you some nutrient, but in compared to a vegetable, a little bit of green or broccoli or cauliflower, something like that, it's not going to give you the same amount of nutrients. And here in the Bahamas, I've noticed that, that Sunday pattern is becoming a more everyday pattern for some families as well. So we eat big throughout the week now, right? When I was young, that wasn't a thing, right? During the rest of the week, you kind of had to behave and be good to get to that Sunday dinner. But now a lot of Bahamians eat that kind of Sunday dinner every day. And it's more available, right? It's more available. Even here on the island, food like that is more available than it would have been in the past. So to have every day, you can go and buy it from a place and have that every day. And so I think across families here, I'm seeing an increase in weight. So definitely an increase in being overweight, being obese, and then an increase in the amount of starches that we eat on a day-to-day basis, and a decrease in understanding of the way that food contributes to the health of our body. Right, so those are the major things that I'm seeing now. So children are definitely bigger, much younger, unfortunately, and they are a lot less inactive. They're a lot less active, sorry, because of the increase as well in technology, right? Kids now, they have phones and stuff. Now, I don't know exactly how old anyone on this panel is, and I'm not about to ask that because that's impolite. But back in the day, we might have had one little Nintendo that we used to play that your mommy only make sure you use for like an hour on the weekend. Whereas now, it's always a telephone in a hand. I have 2 toddlers. Oh, Coco, Melon, gone to bed, right? That's all they want to do. All they want to do is look at the phone. So I literally have to stop, take the phones away, usher them outside. And that's becoming a real big issue as well. But not only that, take into account the safety, right? We live in a world where safety is now a bigger concern than it was before. I used to go and climb mango trees in my neighbor's yard all the time, right? But we live in a world where now that mightn't be safe to do. So we have to make some adjustments, but we have to still try and get that physical activity in. The screen time, crazy, madness. I don't even know. I don't know what we used to do before we had cell phones. I can't remember. I remember having a dial-up phone though. I think maybe a couple of my panelists remember that too. I'm looking for company here because, like I say, I ain't about to ask nobody their age, right? But dial-up phones, when your mommy used to cut you off after 20 minutes of being on the phone because you got to go do homework, girl, you better come off this phone. But now we don't do that. Our kids have way too much access and way too little outside activity. So that's a couple of my observations since I've been home.
Thank you, Dr. Zenna. And I want to ask our panelists who would have heard the feedback, and even the audience, you can chime in the comments. What are some things you do to help you with managing the food? Because even with the working out, it all starts in the kitchen and what we eat. So what are some tips that you all have used to help you? Because this food story, as Dr. Zenna said, it's not easy. It's a constant fight. So have you found anything that you've done that helps you with managing food on a daily basis?
Open for anyone. I guess I'll start. Why not? I am by no means a nutritionist or a specialist in the matter of food, but if it's one thing that we all have in common, it's common sense. And in this day and age, a quick Google search, like you say, what food should I eat? What food should I not eat? What is high in fat? What is too much starch? How should my plate look? And for someone that works out every day, I prioritize protein. I prioritize my vegetables, I prioritize fiber, and if necessary, a few carbs in there. And that's the formula that I use for all of my plates. I'm not a master chef either, so I get used to eating almost the same thing all the time. Sometimes on the weekend, I might have something that I shouldn't, but for the most part, it's chicken, eggs, vegetables. Whatever plate I'm eating, whatever formula it is, it's basically the same thing. Protein, vegetables, carbs if I need it. And that's that. If it doesn't fall within those lines, then I personally believe that I shouldn't eat it. So there isn't no meal prep or meal plan or real science behind it. But we all know what's right and wrong. We all know what's healthy and unhealthy. We all know we shouldn't be eating Wendy's every day, and maybe we should go and make a salad with some baked chicken instead. So that's how I keep it nice and simple. Is it, no other strategy to it.
Thanks, Keval. Any other feedback or tip, Shaundra or Devaughn?
So for me, it's like a mindset, right? So the way I look at food, I look at it as not in terms of something that you eat just to get full. I look at it as something that you eat to fuel your body, right? So when you think about fuel, if you put bad fuel in a car, then that car is going to run very poorly. And if you put bad fuel in your body, it's going to run very poorly as well. Even when you're working out, your workout is not as explosive as it should be because of the food that you eat. So that's the kind of way that I look at food. So that causes me to be very selective in the food that I eat. And for the most part, I eat very clean. Every now and then you indulge in something like that, but for the most part, I'm very deliberate and intentional in what I eat because I take it from the approach that I want to make sure that what I put into my body fuels my body, give me the energy that I need to do whatever I'm doing for the day. Not just even working out, but just day to day life. Dealing with family and dealing with and work and stuff like that. I don't always want to feel tired every day or whatever have you. So that's the kind of way that I approach um, the way I look at food.
Well, as it relates to me, there are two things I want to point out as it relates to food. The first thing is to never skip breakfast. I cannot go without having breakfast. If you see if I miss breakfast, chances are I am going to indulge, especially when it comes to lunch. So I am a person, I meal prep my breakfast every night, especially Monday to Friday. On a Saturday morning, I'll get up and make breakfast. But to me, that's the most important meal, and making sure that the breakfast is wholesome and hearty and filling, something that's filled with protein. And then I also ensure that my meals have some type of vegetable on the side. So whether it's a breakfast salad or even a green salad, um, just recently I've gotten into quinoa salad, adding quinoa to my salad. So that's another healthy alternative as it relates to nutrition. Making sure that you don't skip meals, particularly breakfast, and making sure that you have a vegetable with every meal that you have throughout the day.
And I think that's so interesting that you talk about a vegetable with every meal because when persons are eating salad for breakfast or putting spinach in their eggs, people sort of look at them like, why would you do that? But finding ways to even put vegetables in your meals from the morning is something that I found is not typical amongst us, but a learning that I've been trying to implement in my meals. So just would want to throw that out there to our audience to not limit yourselves to when you can eat vegetables. Try to get creative and see how you can put them in each meal, like Shaundra would have shared. So let's look more into the fitness aspect. Um, I'm always seeing posts from Keval and Devaughn with these runs and all of that. Of course, not everybody is into running, but that is one of the things that you both are passionate about. So tell us how you got into it and any other tips you would give when it comes to physical activity.
All right, I guess I'll start. So my fitness journey actually started in 2018, and it was much more about the gym other than running. Right. Prior to 2018, I started not being that typical man and started going and getting physicals, right? Annual physicals, right? And and I went and got my results, and the doctor was like, "Okay, everything looks fine except your cholesterol is a bit of concern." So he suggested that I started incorporating exercise because prior to that, I never really exercised because I never really had a weight issue, right? I always had a high metabolism, so I always ate a lot, but and burned it, but never really exercised. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll do that and change, the way I ate. So I only exercise like twice a week, even though he recommended me five. And I started to change the way I ate. Went This is back in 2016. 2017, went back, got another checkup, got the results, and he was like, okay, he saw some improvement, but he was like, he could tell from my blood work that I wasn't exercising 5 days a week. I was like, wow, how can he tell that? So he encouraged me to do so. So in 2018, this is when MacFit first opened up. I decided to sign up for the gym and started working out, and I started changing even more drastically the way I ate. Um, and in 2020 is when I actually started to incorporate running through a friend of mine who told me about this run challenge that they had around COVID, where you had to run 3 miles a day, and on the weekend 1 mile because you had the lockdown. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a try, because prior to that, I used to only do like the fun run walks, and that was the only time I would run. But I never did anything where I was running every day or had this running plan or whatever have you. And after that month of the challenge, I noticed my pace changed drastically. It started getting faster, and it was like something that just came natural to me. And I was already had the mindset of being disciplined. So I started incorporating running with strength training, and it was something that I just continue on to this very day, and always at it because of the discipline that I have. Because I recognize that motivation only takes you so far. You know, even when you talk about your prayer life, sometimes you don't feel like praying, sometimes you don't feel like getting to the word, but it's through that spiritual discipline that you know that you still have to, because it's detrimental for your life. You really need it. And it's the same way I look at fitness. I know it's detrimental and important for my life. So even on the days I don't feel like getting up, I still get up, because people always ask, how do you get up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning? I say it's just that discipline. I get up, I spend time in the word first, and then I work on my physical body, and I exercise those spiritual disciplines, and I've been doing it ever since.
Keval, you muted.
Have that. All right. Well, where do I begin? Being I think I'm the youngest in the call again. I'll say that again. I think I'm the youngest, but my fitness journey started about 2021. And honestly, to this day, whenever someone asks me, "Oh, why do you work out? Why do you work out almost 5 to 6 times a week? Why do you do all this?" I still don't have the answer. From the first day I went into the gym, and I actually went there because I was taking photos of the gym. You know, 'cause I do photography. I had no interest in actually working out. But from day one, shout out to Tanji and the Evolve crew. It just felt like something that I should do. I'm like, okay, I want to get stronger. I think I don't know what it means to get stronger, but I know as I get older, I have to become a man. So I guess I don't know, working out should help with that. So from day one, it was just working out twice a day, sometimes 5 a.m. in the morning and 5 in the evening. And especially how I'm an entrepreneur, I sometimes have nothing else to do. So I might work out basically, like I said, 5 to 6 times a week, sometimes twice a day. And it never really started off as, as fast and as radical as I am now, but it started off with lighter weights. I never was into running. I just started running last year, but I'll get to that later. Started off with the lighter weights, started off with listening to the trainers, just having fun, like I always try to do. And it was always fun for me. It was always about fun, meeting people, meeting other clients, working out with other people. And I had no idea about the benefits of working out. It just felt like it just came natural to me almost. So started working out about 2021. It's now 2020. We're in 2024 now. Five. Again old. And so it's been about three to 4 years, and over the time, I just constantly seen how fitness has dramatically improved my life. It improved my anxiety. It improved my self-esteem. I got a little bit bigger because back in high school, I was skin and bones. I'm still not the biggest dude ever, but I was very skinny. I wasn't really into sports like that, but it, yeah. And now to this very day, I can definitely thank all of my strength mentally, physically, and spiritually to fitness. Like I said earlier, you can't have a strong mind without a strong body or a strong spirit, because the temptations that get thrown around on a daily basis, fleshly temptations and drinking, all that stuff, especially as a 24-year-old, you're surrounded by other people my age that have no interest in, caring for their bodies, taking care of themselves. If I was still the weak and frail Keval from high school, I don't know what condition or position I would have been in now. So yeah, I do a lot of CrossFit. I'm currently working at a happy hour CrossFit and MarkFit. So I'm at 2 gyms now, still overkill. So definitely not recommending what I do to anyone else. The doctor's right there. You can ask her how much times you need to work out during the week. But I go there at 5 a.m. in the morning, so I have to wake up 4 a.m. like Devaughn said. Wake up there, go to the gym. After the gym, I get a phone call. Hey, Keval, you about to hit this 5-mile run? I'm sitting in my car dying. I'm like, oh, crap, I said I was going to run with him today. In the evening, go back to the gym. And it's just fun. It's just fun. And like I said, the benefits of be getting stronger and feeling more confident about yourself, looking in the mirror and seeing the muscles start to grow. Over the years of me doing this, it's became a bit addicting. In terms of running, I just started running last year, February. So this month actually is the anniversary month for my running career. I run about 1,000 miles so far. And running is a completely different ballgame. A lot of people think it's just to get faster or it's just to, try to get the times down. But the mental strengthening that comes with running was evident from day one. Like the second you take those first couple of steps, the pain that comes with it, I don't know, I'm smiling talking about pain, but it is exciting. Oh, my light going. Look at that. I know it's going to happen sometime, but I'm prepared for that. And the discipline and stuff that came along with it just sprung off into different aspects of my life. So when you're disciplined in the gym, you have to work out today. You have to eat properly. When it comes to your family, you have to care for them. You have to talk to them a certain way. You have to treat them a certain way. When it comes to your job or career, you have to complete this assignment a certain type of way. You have to reach there on time, do the best of your abilities, treat others with care. And one of the things I like to say the most, if you don't care for yourself, how are you going to care for others? If you don't love yourself, how are you going to love others? And if you look in this day and age, there's a lot of hate, a lot of envy, a lot of turmoil and stress going around because people are sick, people are not healthy, and that unhealthiness is just infecting the entire nation. So to do your part is to get strong, get healthy, encourage others to get strong, get healthy, and that's my main mission now. I'm not certified in anything yet, but my mission now is just to become as strong as possible so I can continue to encourage others to really unlock the full potential of their bodies. Like I say, the body's in temple of the Lord, and the Lord can't live in no weak and small temple. It got to be something strong and sturdy. So, yeah, that's the current mission. Yeah.
So true, and really admire the commitment and strength that both you and Devaughn are displaying. It's definitely inspiring. So kudos to you both, and keep doing it because you're causing other persons to want to jump on board as well. So Dr. Zenna, we have some persons who probably are watching and they're saying, "Man, these guys, they're ready. They are. How do I get started in this journey?"
Okay, so I mean, one thing I will say is, both of you gentlemen, I admire you so much that you try and encourage me now to do a little better for myself. I ain't gonna promise you I can never run nowhere, but I'll walk quickly. But I definitely think that the starting point for all of us is to know that exercise is just so important. So any start is a good start. That's what I try to. Any start is a good start. Okay, if you can't do 5 days a week, because the current recommendation is that we do half an hour of moderately intense exercise. That means, now we have to go into that meaning. That means that you get slightly breathless and you sweating plenty. So not the ones who go in for a short, cute walk. That's not going to help because that doesn't work your heart at all. Okay, it doesn't get you into fat burn. It doesn't work your heart. You have to get sweaty. It got to be that kind of ugly sweat. And it got to make you slightly breathless. So you can't be having conversations on your mobile telephone and think you're working out. No, You have to be able to focus. You have to have a focus and a drive. Like Devaughn said, you have to have focus and drive. Like Keval said, you have to have discipline, okay? If you don't have discipline when you start, it's not going to work. But you have to put your mind into, hey, I know I got to do 30 minutes. I know I got to get slightly breathless, and I know I got to be sweaty. So prepare yourself for those things. But 30 minutes, 5 days a week is the current recommended guideline, okay? So that should be enough to do one of two things, either to help you maintain your weight, but if you want to lose weight, you got to ramp that up a little bit, right? So here's the thing. Yes, I say and do 30 minutes of exercise as a starting point. But if your goal is to lose 50 pounds by summertime, you're going to have to put in the work, which means more. Okay, so we don't need to stop. We need to find a goal and keep to it. If your goal is mental health, mental strength, then that's fine. You might want to maintain your weight, keep to the 150 minutes. But if your goal is weight loss, then you got to ramp it up. You got to do more. You got to put the effort in. We don't gain the pounds overnight. We ain't going to lose them overnight, right? There is no magic fix to that. You got to put in the time, the effort, and the work. And whether we like it or not, we got to stick to what we believe in. I know all of us make those New Year's resolutions, which we famous for breaking all the time, because that's, we put a lot on us, right? Because we want it done overnight. So what we tend to do, go hard and fast, and then we lose the motivation. Start slow, and build yourself up. That's my recommendation. So if you could only make 2 days a week, start with the 2, but then know at the end of the month after you done do the 2, we need you to increase a bit more. So keep going. Don't lose the motivation. Find a group of people who are going to motivate you. Find a group that wants the same goals that you have, right? That's what we forget to do. Find like-minded people. Because if you have friends who want to exercise to lose the weight and it's only you one, you're going to find that journey very difficult, right? Because the temptation around you is so great. So find a partner. Find somebody who wants to do it with you. If you know you have kids at home who are able to come out and exercise with you, take them with you. Let them go out on the road with you. Let them do the exercise workout with you, because that gives you more motivation. If your husband, he's into the same thing, whether he wants to do it for just mental health or physical health, whether he wants to have weight loss or build muscle, let him come and work out with you. It's a great way to build intimate time between couples as well. So I encourage that. I encourage you to find someone who's going to be motivation for you. If you can't find it within yourself, pick a group of people who are like-minded and want to do it with you. That's been, on my own fitness journey, that's been my most difficult thing, is keeping motivation. On the days when I feel tired and I feel down, I need somebody who can look at me and go, Doc, let's go, man. Come out on the road. Let's go. Let's get out the house. Let's go. Let's do it. So for me now, my husband does that. Hey, I see you working out today. Well, I got the kids, so you can catch one little 30 minutes, and so my husband holds me accountable. And that's what we need. We need accountability. Somebody to say, hey, I just checking in. You okay? God tries to do that for us, But the problem is sometimes ourselves feel so strong, Lord. We'll pass the Wendy's and we'll hear God talking to us going, don't buy it. Don't do it. You got food at home. Don't do it. And what we could do, fall into that same trap, because we're like, oh, Lord, it's already 6:30. And then by the time I get home and I done cook something, and then we end up right on Wendy's line, right? We all fall short, We all fall short of the glory of God, but he can keep coming back to you. He's a real accountability partner. So when you're feeling down, like me, when I lose my weight and I feel like, oh, God, friend, you put on 5 pounds. How you can tell your nutritionist you put on 5 pounds? I can hear God in the background going, I tell you about that. I told you. I tried to give you that little nod, but you didn't want to do it. See, your husband he tell you the other night, you're on the treadmill. But you sit down and watch Law and Order, you see? That's just rich. So you got to hear God in all the things that you do, and you got to hear him and accept him chastising you as well as congratulating you, right? Because he tries to help us live in the word that our body is his temple. That means we got to look after it like how we look after the church. You know how significant that is? God loved the church so much, he sacrificed his only son. I know as mothers on this call, we should all realize the heftiness of that. If you ain't mothers, if you have a nephew, if you just have someone you love, even for Keval and Devaughn, if you just have someone that you love like a son, like a brother, To sacrifice that person meant so very much. So we got to treat our bodies like that. You see the immense love that is? How dare we ignore that? How dare we just go around being like, whatever happens, happens. What the young people say, YOLO? You can't YOLO on this body shot because you really only get one. YOLO in here, okay? You can't say that every time you want to make an excuse to do something unhealthy. We must live the best versions of ourselves in order to be an example for others, right? To love others means also to be an example for them. And we must truly believe that and we must truly live it, right? So your kids growing up and seeing you make unhealthy choices, they're going to make unhealthy choices as well. You are the example. So we got to be better examples. I call myself doctor, but I hold myself accountable too. I tell my patients, when you see me out there walking on the road, that's hard work for me too. Don't think it's just easy. But you could come join me any day, anytime, anywhere. You see me out there, you want to put on your shoes, let's go. I'll be accountable for you. You be accountable for me because that's how we get better, right? We all fall short, but we got to remember to get back on the road. We can never forget that. Like Keval said, you can't pour from no empty cup. But what? If you have nothing in your cup, what you pour in? Air? No. You got to give the same amount of love to your very own body in order for you to give it to others. And through my work as a doctor, I truly, truly believe that in order to get perfect health, you must look at a person holistically, body, mind, spirit, soul. All of that got to come together. All of that got to work together. And when it works together, it's magic. You see people get better. You see their health get better. You see their mental ability increase. You see their focus increase. You see their drive increase. And you see them living very happy lives. That's to be truly happy. Not to pretend happy, to be truly happy. Okay, so I think for me especially, get out there, man, get moving Bahamas. That needs to be the slogan for 2025. Get moving Bahamas. A lot of us trying to do the work with food, but we cannot forget physical exercise is most important too.
Exactly. And I think that's a good segue, Shaundra, to talk about some simple exercises for people who need to get back with it, or those who haven't done anything before and need to start their journey. So what are some simple exercise routines persons can use?
Well, Catherine, that's a very good question. When it speaks to simplicity and fitness, simplicity is always key, especially when you're starting, because you want to make sure that you don't get injured, and so you want to be able to have the strength for the journey. So I always tell persons that your body is a machine. Okay, so starting off, you can use your body to complete body weighted exercises, is what we call them, and those are things like push-ups. And so if you can't get on the ground and do a push-up, you can do a push-up against a desk or a chair. A desk or a chair or a table at home. I think most of us may have a dining room table, right? Or we may have some sort of table or even the kitchen counter. That could be an exercise platform for you. Most persons have a wall, right? Our rooms are enclosed by a wall, so you can use the wall to do a push-up, okay? And so exercising does not have to be hard. It doesn't have to be intimidating. That's the word I'm looking for. It does not have to be intimidating. Start off with the things that you can do. Then we want to do things like a squat, a body weight squat. A squat is simply being able to use a chair where we can sit in and we can stand up. And so if doing an air squat may not be sufficient or conducive for you and your knees, sit on a chair and practice standing up and sitting down for say about 10 to 15 reps, or you could even time it 30 seconds. To make it a little bit more challenging, that same wall that I spoke about, you can also sit against the wall and complete what's called a wall squat. And that would increase the intensity. Another exercise that we can also do, we can do things like walking lunges around the house. When we are, say, brushing our teeth or in the kitchen cooking, right? Instead of standing in spot, we can do some lunges. Another simple exercise, we can also jog in the spots. I heard Dr. Friend talking about her treadmill. You may not have that treadmill, but guess what? We have the solid ground. And so we could stand on the solid ground and just jog in the spot. If jogging in the spot is difficult, you could just stand in place and bend those knees like you're marching. Play some music. Playing music is also another way, or dancing is also another way to get the body active, and it's using your body weight. And the only investment that you may need is some sound instrument, whether it's your TV or a speaker of some sort. And most of us today, we have smartphones that are connected to the internet. And so we don't have the excuse of, oh, I need to go to the gym to probably participate in the class. Also, Catherine, there are so many resources. I know Keval mentioned it, talking about when we spoke about the nutrition and going online and getting ideas on what a healthy plate looks like. There are also free resources online on YouTube, and there are so many different workouts from stretching. Stretching is exercise, flexibility. If you're not flexible, if you don't have that, if your joint is not able to go through a complete range of motion, that would also increase your chances of getting injured and also having pain. And so we don't want any setbacks when we start this journey. We want to be as healthy as possible. So including a day of flexibility or stretching or even yoga, that would help to calm the body, make the body a little bit more supple and make the joints more mobile for movement. Secondly, online, you also have walking programs. So it may not be safe for you to go outside and walk in the neighborhood, but there are walking exercises that you can use and find on YouTube. There are dance programs that you can use if you're into dancing. There are also strength training programs that are online on YouTube. And those strength training programs include weights, and they also include no weight. So again, we go back to using our body as the machine. And so I think that is very important. Persons like to get out. So if you find that you can find a park or you can find a neighborhood that may have a walking path or a sidewalk that is safe for you, and then you can find that walking buddy, I would encourage you to go out and walk, jog, run, whatever it is to get you moving. Again, we're aiming for at least 30 minutes or more. And once we get in that heart rate flowing, there's definitely exercises that can be sustainable for our bodies.
Awesome. And also helping to build the body is vitamins and supplements. So, Dr. Zenna, is there any ones that you would say is a must? And then I would open it to other panelists to chime in on any further ones that have worked for you personally.
So I think for me, one of the things that I realized in the Bahamas is that the majority of us don't actually get enough of any particular nutrient unless we're purposefully intentional about what we're putting into our bodies and making sure we get something from each food group. So for me, a multivitamin is most important. The reason being is, especially for women, one of the important things is iron as we get older. For men, one of the important things is also the minerals that we have. So things like zinc, things like magnesium, okay? So all of these things work together to kind of keep our mind together and focused, to keep our body healthy. So multivitamin for me is the most important thing. And actually, in addition to that, there are some specialized supplements that I know are coming onto the market to help with insulin resistance. So on this topic of diabetes, right, which is just the biggest killer right now worldwide, not just in the Bahamas, not just in the Caribbean, but worldwide, because people are naturally bigger and we have more insulin resistance, and we have worse capabilities at processing sugar, right? So processing sweet foods, which we have a lot more of. There's hidden sugar in practically everything, unfortunately. So, we now have to train our bodies to be better. And one of the supplements on the market coming out is something called berberine, and that is known to help with insulin resistance. And so, that's one of the things that in the past it's been used for weight loss, actually. So berberine isn't a supplement that we didn't know about. We just didn't quite know the effect that it had on blood sugar until most recently. But it acts kind of like these up and coming GLP-1s, which everybody love for weight loss. I can get a shot and I could do it once a week and lose the weight really quickly. And I see that as a great option, but it's not. The risks of using those types of medication without a diagnosis of diabetes, the side effects can be devastating, okay? So the amount of people that we're seeing now that are becoming unwell because they are taking these medications without a diagnosis, they're using it for the wrong things. It's time now for us to start having conversations as primary care physicians, especially family physicians, with people like, hey, you can do this. You can do it naturally and the right way. You don't necessarily need these medications to help you, okay? So berberine for me, look at that supplement. That's an up-and-coming supplement on the market to help regulate our blood sugar control and to also help us with insulin resistance, okay? So that's a hot one coming up now. And then there's some good old natural stuff that all of us, I think, use. Y'all remember having Cerecy when we had colds? Yeah, Cersei works, okay? And it actually improves our immune function, right? I know we don't have a lot of scientific papers, but I can assure you that we are trying. We are working on that. We are doing the science. We are working on it. Most of our medications come from plants, right? So we're not doing anything wrong in the Bahamas by trying to use these alternative medicines. It's just the way in which we use them. And we need to understand a thing about concentrations, because some of these things in higher concentrations can actually be damaging to the body. So we need to come and have a conversation about what we're using and why we're using it in order to make sure we're staying safe, right? Cinnamon, also learned through my own living and process, especially when I was pregnant, that cinnamon actually lowers blood sugar. Okay. Now, I learned that, unfortunately, because one of the side effects that it had on me, I had a craving for cinnamon during my second pregnancy, and it gave me low blood sugar. That's how I found it out. Okay. So I actually had a hypoglycemic attack when I was pregnant because I was putting cinnamon in everything, my tea, everything, just everything had to have cinnamon. And then I went to the doctor one day and I was like, I feel terrible. And he was like, what have you been doing? I was like, I don't know. He said, tell me what you eat. And so when I told him I was putting cinnamon in everything, he kind of looked at me and he was like, why? And I was like, because I like it. I had a little craving. And so, I had a little craving and I wanted it. And he said, but Dr. Friend, cinnamon will lower your blood sugar. And so here I was, I didn't even think about it. I just didn't think about it because, we eat cinnamon with apples and stuff and, that's nice dessert and we feel good about it. So I'm thinking I'm putting it into my tea. I feel good about life. But no, they have side effects too. And sometimes side effects that we're not aware of. So again, I encourage anybody who wants to start a supplement journey where you want to use supplements as part of your day-to-day and control of any issues that you might have, please come and speak to someone. Speak to either a holistic practitioner or your family physician. Ask someone, ask a nutritionist so that they can help guide you as to what it is that your body needs to make sure you're not choosing the wrong things for you.
Correct. And I would highlight for you because what may be working and serving someone else doesn't mean that will do same for us, the individual.
Exactly.
Would want to open it to the panel. Have you found anything work well for you on your health journey?
I'll just keep it simple because there are so many supplements they put out there, right? And really, some of them are just fillers. They don't really do anything if you just keeping it honest. So I like just to keep things simple. So for me, it's just multivitamins, protein, creatine. That's it, really. Protein because to be honest with you, I try to get most of my protein from my food. I just take the supplement to kind of make up for what I don't get. And then the creatine also helps with recovery and muscle building and all that other good stuff, as well as, like Dr. Friend said, the multivitamins also helps to supplement what you don't get from the food. And for me, I find that's basically it. I mean, I know there's some other stuff out there, but I just try to keep it real simple, and I find that works, at least for me.
Well, like Devaughn said, I like to keep it simple as well, but I also love a lot of bush medicine, I guess you would say it is. So basics, protein, creatine, and in terms of vitamins and pills, I try to take my vitamin D, my zinc, my magnesium glycinate, my joint care, my sea moss, fish oils. That's just a few off the top of my head that I try to take. The basics. I'm no specialist, but like I said earlier, common sense is like, hey, I think I need fish oil. That's really something that helped me. I'll take it. Why not? Joint care. I have joints. Why not take joint care? That's kind of my method to taking vitamins and stuff as well. Iron, like you said, those things that I just look at like, okay, and my mother's a nurse as well, so sometimes she might just blurt out something that I might need if I'm feeling some type of way. I'm like, okay, cool. And especially how I work out so intensely, I need to replenish my body with all of the vitamins and minerals and stuff so my muscles could function properly. And in terms of the bush, I have a moringa tree outside. Sometimes I just go outside and just pluck one of the trees, eat the seed, and then go for a run. I like fever grass, ginger, turmeric. If I'm drinking tea, it's always ginger and turmeric. ginger, turmeric. I might put a little bit of cayenne pepper in there because it's a cayenne pepper helps with inflammation, inflamed muscles. I know a little bit of some. I'm no doctor, but black pepper as well. My electrolytes because I'm sweating almost half of the day, so I have to replenish that. And yeah, that's basically it for me. That works for me, and some of that stuff might work for you. Who knows?
So I think all of those vitamins and supplements that have been mentioned are things that I support. But I also want to piggyback on something Dr. Friend said, and when she said to make sure to consult with a healthcare professional. I remember it was probably close to a year ago. I started doing like single leg exercises. And I realized when I stood on my right leg, I would feel like this immense, shocking pain shoot up my hip and into actually in my genital area. So I went and I saw my physician, and she was like, so she tried to figure out if I had a fall or if I had a traumatic accident, something that I could put pinpoint to the injury. There was nothing for me to pinpoint. So she said maybe we could attribute it to my nerve health. So she prescribed me vitamin B complex. That saved the day. And I kid you not, I've been taking that for a year and I don't feel the pain. However, if you say I miss for like a week, I start to feel that pain again. So that says that it's when our body tends to speak to us in ways. Sometimes it's very small and sometimes it becomes very, very big, right? And you take a long time to listen. Whenever you feel that urge or you feel your body speaking to you, please go and seek that medical care and attention, because it could be something that could be solved through supplementation as opposed to like pharmaceutical medication. And I would also say turmeric is my number one thing. I just put turmeric in my eggs. Yes, in my eggs. Yes, Keval. Turmeric and black pepper in your eggs saves the day.
Well, they say don't knock it until you try it. All right, so we are winding down, and of course, with one closing words from each of you. But before we close, just want to share about our national convention that's coming up March 12th to the 16th. It's under the theme Homecoming. So we want everyone connected to Church of God of Prophecy to be there and celebrate with us and also worship with us through this time. So March 12th to the 16th. And then we also have Prophecy Fest for the first time taking place on Saturday, March 15th from 12 noon to 10 p.m. And vendor booths are still available. And so from arts and crafts, plants, clothing, jewelry, ice cream, hamburgers, hot dogs, conch salad, and more will be available, and we're seeking vendors for these various areas, so you can be sure to sign up. We have the flyer on our page, so you can see more information there on who to contact, etc. But we're very excited about Homecoming in March, and like I said, we want everybody, whether you currently worship with us or not, once you're connected to Church of God of Prophecy, we want to see you there from March 12th to 16th. All right. And so, panel, you've left us with so much this evening to think and process. And we want you to take away at least one thing that would have been shared and do something about it. Because a lot of times we are in these sessions and we hear so much information and you're like, where do I start? Just take one thing that any of these panelists that would have that they would have shared that you need. Because like we said, there's a lot of information, but what is it that you need to do to move forward? So that's the challenge that we want to give to you. And a part of my closing words is to take at least one thing that they said that you can implement. And this time next year, be able to say that you're better because of it. All right. And so we'll open the floor for closing words.
All right, I guess I'll start. If I had $10 for every time someone asked me if I was a trainer, I'd be pretty set up for life, right? I always tell them, no, I'm not a trainer. And so when they ask me, well, what do you do? How do you look the way you look at? I'll say my age. How do you look the way you look at 49, right? And so I told them, well, it's a combination of exercise and what I eat. Would you believe that for the most part, the exercise part, most people, if you really have conversations with them, they don't really have a struggle with that. It's the eating part. It's like the eating part is like the hardest part, and unfortunately, 80% of your fitness is all about what you eat, right? The other 20% is what you do in the gym or on the road or whatever have you. Because I can tell you, I've, and Keval can attest to this. You see the same people who've been working out in the gym for many many years, and their weight has not changed, right? And they putting in all this work in the gym, but when you see them outside the gym, their eating is horrible, right? And so you have to be very deliberate, intentional in what we put inside of our mouths, right? And at the same time, we also have to be deliberate and intentional about moving our bodies because the last time I heard about over 60% just for the Bahamas as being diagnosed as obese, which is kind of scary to me, right? That means that there's somebody that I know, right? One of the every 10 persons is obese. And like Dr. Friend said, this thing about diabetes, this is something that we have control over. This is something that we can control, right? It's all about the choices that we make and what we eat. And not only what we eat, but how much of what we eat, right? And so we have to exercise the discipline to say, you know what, I'm not gonna eat Wendy's tonight. I'm not gonna eat this tonight or whatever have you. I'm not gonna eat fried chicken. I'm gonna eat it baked. I'm gonna eat it grill or whatever have you. Change how we even the way we cook things, right? And then marry that in with exercise, right? Because at the end of the day, some people are to believe that, hey, well, if you're already small, what you exercising for, right? And it's not really about in terms of how you look, on the outside. It's all about the inside. At the end of the day, when people ask, why do I do what I do? I tell them at the end of the day, the answer is this: it's just for better quality of life. I know I'm going to die at some point, right? Because they're like, well, you might as well just eat what you want to eat because you're going to die. I know I'm going to die, but how I'm going to die, right? I want better quality of life. I don't want to live life being a vegetable or tube stuck up in me or whatever have you. I can't move. I can't do anything for myself. I want to be as healthy as I can for as long as I can. And so this is what drives me to eat the way I eat and work out the way I work out, right? Because at the end of the day, I want to have better quality of life for me, for my wife, for my grandchild, even for my friends, and to be around as long as I can. And also too, to be able to do the work for the Lord. I can't work for the Lord if I'm bedridden, right? So I got to be as healthy and strong as possible for him to use me how best he can. And so that's really my closing statements.
Uh, all right, I guess I'll close out too. Let me get out the way of the professionals. If it's one thing I have to say, I don't care what denomination you are. I don't care your age, gender, uh, believe in God or not. At the end of the day, this one body is the body that I believe, because I believe I'm a born again Christian. God has given us for free. We didn't have to work for this. We didn't have to slave for this. We said no prayers, nothing. When we came to this earth, God blessed us with a healthy, functioning body. And day by day, we pray for the money, we pray for cars, we pray for the opportunities, we pray for all the gifts and stuff, but we neglect the gift that God gave us from day one, our health and our strength and our body. So all I have to say is get to work. I'm 24 years old. And you don't have to be as radical as me. You don't have to go and run 30 miles or run a lap around Nassau or be in the gym 5 days a week. But start with something. Because at the end of the day, if you don't start when you're young, you're going to regret it when you're older. And you're going to regret it quickly. It might not get you now. You're having fun, you're drinking, you're partying, you ain't working out, you might be on Wendy's line. Listen to this now. If you're hearing this on Wendy's line, you ain't ordered yet. You can still get the salad. It's perfectly fine. You don't have to come off the line completely. I'll meet you where you're at. Just get the salad. But you have to get your body moving. I realize that my health is more important than anything else that I own. Doesn't matter how much money I have, how much fame, the accolades, my cameras, don't matter how expensive they are, whatever I'm driving. Because at the end of the day, you could have 1,000 problems. Wife, kids, family, loved ones, work, whatever. But the second you get a health problem, That's the only problem you're gonna have to deal with for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter how much money you have, whoever likes you or not. The second something goes wrong with this body, that's irreversible. It's too late, and it's never too late to start. Like Devaughn says, this journey just started in 2018, around then, pre-COVID. Mine just started 3 years ago, 2021. I can't math. I don't do math. Don't quote me on that. But, and I know people who are in their 60s, their 70s that still run to this day could outrun me. And that's my goal. So when I reach 60, 70, 80, I can still run around. I can still jump around. I don't have knee problems. I don't deal with arthritis and diabetes and hypertension, high blood pressure and low sugar, high sugar, this, that. And all of these plagues and diseases that can be easily avoided if you just eat properly and move your body how you need to on a daily basis. So that's my closing statement. Get to work, get closer to God, get stronger, and just try to become the best version of yourself, the best and strongest version of yourself.
All right. So for me, I think the overarching theme today was faith without works is dead. We spent the last hour, all of the panelists giving everyone tips on our journeys and how we can become the healthiest version of ourselves, right? And for some persons, and I know Sister Catherine threw out a challenge for us to just take one thing and apply it to our lives. But for some persons, that can be very intimidating. And so I want to leave tonight with saying, in our Bahamian culture, we are afraid of help. All right. We are afraid to say when we need help. All right. And so we know we're overweight. We know we don't work out. We know we're not eating right. We know we're always stressed out, where our mood's always affected. And so we know we need help. And so I want you to have a conversation with yourself after you watch this video tonight, and even come back and replay it and share it with your family members and friends. What is that one thing that you can get the help in? Whether it's investing in a personal trainer. You may not have the funds to invest in a personal trainer, but find a community. Devaughn and Keval are attached to run groups that are free, I think. I think they only pay when they go and they participate in competitions. And even that in itself is an option, but the road is free. So you can go out and road and run on the road and find a group that you can do it with. If you cannot afford going into a gym, there are also free opportunities throughout the Bahamas, particularly in the province. I know the Ministry of Health and Wellness and National Health Insurance, they offer free workout activities and movement sessions, and even nutrition sessions for Bahamians. So take advantage of those free health, wellness, and fitness opportunities there. Yeah, you can get the help that you need to become the best versions of ourselves. Ultimately, the goal is to become very independent, where you're able to do this without always having to rely on someone, where you can become self-motivated. But that self-motivation may not always come at first, but we got to work it. We got to do something. We got to get that nutritionist. You may need to find a support group that focus on healthy eating and nutrition. That support group is in person, or even if it's online, on Facebook, Instagram, on some social media platforms. There are so many free opportunities out there for us to get the help that we need, so that this journey that we start, this work, we continue working this for the rest of our lives, for as long as God bless us with good health, sound mind, strong bodies, and strong spirit, so that we keep His temple as healthy and as wealthy as possible.
Well, on that note, that leaves us with a lot of food for thought. So I really just have three things to say. One is pray without ceasing. That's for the strength to start the journey. That's for the strength to continue the journey. And let it be a motivation for you to keep going. No matter how many times you fall down, please get back up. Just know that there's always people rooting for you. There's always the man upstairs. He will always be rooting for what is good for us. Okay, so pray without ceasing. Never forget that. 2, don't pour from an empty cup, eh? Fill this cup first. Fill this cup with good food that's nutritious. Make sure you're getting them vitamins in. Make sure you're eating healthy. That means half the plate should be vegetables. Half the plate, you hear me? Half the plate should be vegetables. And I ain't talking about corn, remember? Corn ain't no vegetable, eh? So half the plate should be vegetables. Make sure you're eating balanced meals that are nutritious, that are serving to give you nutrients, serving to make your body move better. Not the ones that slow you down and make you feel like you're going to sleep, okay? That tells you whether or not you are eating a healthy, balanced diet. If you feel like falling asleep after every meal, you had a little too much carbohydrate. Just remember that, okay? That's an easy, simple rule to follow as well. And then the third thing is get out and get moving. Let's get active. 2025 is the year of getting outside and getting active, not just for our physical health, but for our mental health as well. Let's do it. Mental health in this country is suffering. It started suffering in COVID. It's gotten a lot worse. We're losing a lot of young people because we just don't have the mental fortitude that we used to. And that's for a number of reasons. We can't address all in one go, but getting outside at least will give you a boost to the feel-good hormone in your brain. Same way you get it from chocolate for us women, we get it for everybody by being outside. Go outside, be outside, smell the fresh air. Give thanks to God that we lived another day, that we have another day to smell the outside fresh air. And it's fresher here in the Bahamas than most places in the world, so be grateful for that. Even in Nassau, I know y'all have plenty cars there, but it's fresher here than in most places. So let's be grateful for what we have. But remember, get active, get moving. Let's get moving. That is the goal for 2025, is getting out. Make it a family thing. Take the family with you. Make it a couples thing. Take the husband with you. Make it intimate time. Talk about life. Talk about things. Get moving.
Awesome. Thank you so much to this amazing panel. So many nuggets and practical points that were shared in this webcast this evening. So thank you, thank you, thank you all. We really appreciate it. And those who tuned in, if you got something out of it, share it on your page so that other people can also hear all of these points that were shared in relation to health, wellness, and fitness. And remember, you got the information, so now it's up to you to do something with it. And so we're cheering for you, and we know that you can do this. So we will see you on the other side. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you.